My name is RG, and welcome back to the What's Worth Watching channel, a channel for TV and film lovers who want real, agenda-free views on the latest releases. And in today's video, I'm going to be giving a rundown of the best TV shows I watched over the past year, and why I believe that 2024 was a really special year for television. Quick disclaimer, I've not seen everything, as I am just one person with only so much free time, so if there is a TV show that you think deserves to be on the list, I either didn't like it enough, or I didn't get a chance to watch it, and each series will be spoken about in release order. Anyway, let's get right into it. 2024 started off strong, with Mr. Bates vs the Post Office premiering on New Year's Day. This is a fantastic true story about the massive scandal that began over 20 years ago, when a faulty computer system called Horizon, which was used by some postmasters, led to one of the biggest miscarriages of justice in British history, with literally hundreds of people incorrectly prosecuted for fraud, theft, and false accounting. This drama takes a deeper look into those affected by the scandal, and how traumatic it was for so many of them. It's always been a case that I had a vague understanding of, but this drama really drives home how impactful it was, with many going to prison, being bankrupted, and sadly, some even taking their lives, directly as a result of this. The performances from Toby Jones as Alan Bates and Monica Dolan as Joe Hamilton were stellar, but a special shout out has to be given to Will Mellor as Lee Castleton and Leah Williams as Paula Venables, who were major standouts for me. Despite it being such a sad story, watching Alan Bates fight for the truth and justice is incredibly inspiring, which led to much attention from the British public, who for some, this drama was the first introduction to the scandal. More still needs to be done, but this drama deserves a lot of credit for bringing this case back to the public attention. Based on the 1975 novel by James Clavell, Shogun tells the story of John Blackthorne, an English sailor stranded in Japan, who finds himself caught up in political warfare between Lord Toranaga and 4 other regents after the death of their leader. Unable to speak the language, Blackthorne's only way of communicating with the locals is through Lady Mariko, one of Lord Toranaga's most loyal followers, who acts as a translator between them. Shogun is a brutally violent period drama that slowly builds each episode, gradually adding layers to the story and the characters. It really is high quality television with incredible production value. Each episode is beautifully shot and cinematic. Whilst there isn't constant action, what action there is superbly done and far more graphic than I anticipated. They definitely don't shy away from the graphic details, but it's never indulgent. It always feels necessary, which makes it feel even more powerful. There are numerous immense performances, with Hiroyuki Sanada and Cosmo Jarvis giving award-winning performances. But Anna Sawai is the clear standout for me. She is absolutely spectacular. In a sea of amazing performances, she's somehow able to steal the show, and most definitely deserved her Emmy win for Best Lead Actress. Shogun's Crimson Sky episode is genuinely one of the best episodes of television I've ever seen. It's utter perfection that had me moved to tears by the climax. It's beautiful, heartbreaking, and exhilarating. I couldn't stop thinking about it for days. It's no surprise that Shogun absolutely dominated at the Emmys, and I can't wait for season 2. Amazon Prime's Fallout was one of the biggest surprises of the year. Based on the video game series, this show tells an original story set in the world of Fallout, with the basic premise being that after World War II, rapid accelerations in nuclear technology led to a great war between America and the communists, with this war culminating in nuclear bombs being dropped across America, killing millions. In anticipation of this war, underground nuclear fallout shelters were built around the country by a company called Vault-Tec, which kept these vault dwellers safe. But for those who weren't lucky enough to find haven in the vaults, they were either eviscerated by the blast immediately, or had to deal with the ramifications of living in the radiation-heavy wasteland that America had become. The series splits its time primarily focusing on 3 main characters: Lucy, a young and naive vault dweller; Maximus, a squire of the Brotherhood of Steel, which is a morally questionable militia group; and then Cooper Howard, an actor turned Vault-Tec ambassador, who becomes a ghoul after the radiation left by the nuclear bombs causes him to genetically mutate. The series was able to deliver the tone of the games perfectly, and the attention to detail and visuals allowed me to feel fully immersed in this dystopian world. The characters are brilliantly written, it's got a dark and twisted sense of humour, and I found myself hooked from the very first episode. With Baby Reindeer releasing just a day after Fallout, it meant that I barely saw the sun for the next week, but it was so worth it, as I really enjoyed both Fallout and Baby Reindeer. What a great time for Netflix! This dark and uncomfortably personal drama is based on the real-life experience of Richard Gadd, who plays himself in the series. This captivating story shows us how his life was turned upside down once an obsessed stalker appears in his life whilst he's trying to make it as a stand-up comedian in London. Jessica Gunning is fantastic in the role of Martha, but Richard Gadd is simply sensational, giving a raw performance that had me tearing up at points. At times, Baby Reindeer is difficult to watch, and there are some very upsetting and unsettling scenes. But you've got to commend Richard Gadd for being so open about his experiences. Honestly, it felt like we were taking a peek into his journal, which had tracked all his issues, insecurities, and flaws. Obviously, there has been a lot of attention given to the show about how true it actually is, and I would be disappointed if a lot has been embellished, but it's a terrific show regardless, and I was happy to see it nominated for numerous Emmys, with it coming away with 6 wins. House of the Dragon returned for its second season midway through the year, and again, it's another really impressive season. This Game of Thrones prequel charts the fight for the throne between Rhaenyra Targaryen and her brother Aegon after the death of the father. After the shocking finale to season 1, it was set up for this season to be gargantuan, and whilst audiences were a little mixed in their reception of the season, I really enjoyed all of the political machinations that dominate this savage and violent fantasy world. As promised, this series has more emphasis on the dragons, and this season did not let us down on this front, with numerous epic dragon-centered moments. Every time they're on screen, the show instantly becomes more intense, due to the dragon's horrifying power and unpredictability. Ewan Mitchell as Aemon Targaryen has quickly become a fan favourite, and it's easy to understand why, with his unique appearance, humongous dragon, and ruthless personality. Aemond was my favourite character of the season. I couldn't help but love him, whilst also kind of hating him. Then we get to Matt Smith, who's once again simply mesmeric as Daemon Targaryen, even though they don't use him quite as well this season. His character spends most of the season sidelined at Harrenhal, whilst trying to gain support for his claim to the throne. However, by the end of the season, the character has developed in a way that does feel earned and in the right place. So hopefully, going into the next season, he'll spend a lot less of it essentially having a trippy nightmare. The Targaryen Civil War is about to commence, and I can't wait for it. Slow Horses is a series that I was able to start and finish in the space of a couple weeks, with the 4th season premiering in early September. Slow Horses tells the story of a group of MI5 misfits that have been sent to work at a notorious building called Slough House, rather than being fired. Whilst there, they're led by the cantankerous Jackson Lamb, played wonderfully by Gary Oldman, as they find themselves in numerous high-stakes events. This 4th season saw the introduction of a new major player, with Hugo Weaving's Frank Harkness character having links to River Cartwright, whose grandfather would rather dirt is left in the past. This was yet another quality season for Slow Horses that showed it deserves to be up there with the best espionage-centered shows of the modern era. It's hilarious, exciting, and finds a way to keep you rooting for a constantly revolving cast of characters. Feel free to watch my previous video on Slow Horses if you want to know more about the show. The Penguin is HBO's spin-off series to Matt Reeves' The Batman film, with Colin Farrell starring as the titular character. The series charts Oswald Cobb's rise to power as the people of Gotham deal with the aftermath of the Riddler's mass bombing campaign. Colin Farrell, in a completely unrecognisable role, gives the best performance of his career, whilst Kristen Miliotti's performance as Sophia Falcone somehow almost manages to steal the show entirely, given the type of layered performance that must surely lead to awards recognition. Despite its comic book origins, The Penguin is a dark and violent crime drama that's grounded to its core. Featuring outstanding writing and direction, the series pushes the comic book genre to a new level, with each episode building on the last, somehow elevating itself almost every week. With a season finale that had audiences gasping for breath, The Penguin marks for a near perfect season of television. That's undoubtedly my favourite TV show of the year. Again, if you want to hear me go into more detail about The Penguin, feel free to watch my separate video. And finally, we get to The Day of the Jackal, the latest adaptation of the 1973 book of the same name. This stunningly shot action thriller stars Eddie Redmayne in the lead role, playing a world-class assassin as he embarks on his most dangerous and high-profile mission to date. It's a cat and mouse tale, with the Jackal being pursued by British intelligence, who are doing whatever it takes to capture him, before he can successfully carry out his mission. Yes, it's undoubtedly very silly at times, as is common with the spy genre, but it's so well done. And Eddie Redmayne is fantastic, playing this villainous psychopath that you can't take your eyes off him, even when he's killing innocent people. Once again, check out my The Day of the Jackal video if you want more of a deep dive into the series. So there we have it. They were my picks for the best TV shows I watched in 2024. If I had to pick my top 3 for the year, it'd have to be Fallout in third place, Shogun in second, and then The Penguin riding high on top. But there were so many strong contenders in truth, and I really enjoyed all of the series spoken about today. So, what are your top 3 TV shows of the year? And are there any notable picks that you think I've missed? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe for more. And I'll see you next time for another video. Goodbye.